Alright, so I wanted to give you a little tour of the existing conditions file that I gave you and show you how I might start to set up your own file. So on the modules there's an existing conditions Revit and some other supporting files in different file formats, but I'm going to look at the existing conditions Revit first. So you can download this, and I would start from scratch. We did a little space planning one, but I would start from scratch to start your own. We can talk about how to transfer the space planning conditions to your new file if you want to, or you can just use the space planning as a separate file. Alright, so let me minimize that. Here's that existing conditions file, so I'm just going to open it, and it will open up to a splash screen, and you can see on the right hand side I have my project browser open on the right hand side of my screen, and there's different plans and sections and elevations and things that are set up here that I've done for you, so you can kind of consider this file as your template. Now the first thing I would do is I would go to File up here, and I would go to Save As Project, and just rename it, because this is not going to be your existing conditions. This is going to be your file, so I'll just call this M Smith, and I'll leave the date on it. You need to figure out a file system where you can consistently name it so you know what version you're working on, instead of final 2. Just work out a file naming system that works for you so they'll stack and it'll be consistent. And just save it as a different name. So I'll just click Save, so you'll see it update up here once it's done to the new name. And then from the splash screen you can go to any view that you want. So I'm just going to go to the 3D view, and you can see the file. I'm going to close my inactive views up here so it gets rid of that original one. Holding down the Shift key and pressing down on the middle mouse wheel, you can see here's our existing conditions model. Let's talk a little bit about how this is put together. I built this, and the way that it's built is it's set up with different floor levels, and there's quite a bit of a variation in the building here, so it does get a little complex with the different walls and stuff, but we can talk about that a little bit later. But let's look immediately at how it's sort of set up. So I'm going to go to my south elevation here, and it's looking at the building from the south, maybe the west elevation, which is a little bit more explanatory. So this is the Charles Street elevation, and you can see the plan A1. So the first level is set on plan A1, and that's your basic floor. So everything that you draw on plan A1 is going to be hosted to this floor and referenced to this level. And then plan A2 is set at 15 feet. So that's your floor to floor. If I go to wireframe down here, you're going to see here's the floor behind there. You can see it when I zoom in and out, and it's set to that level. This one is set to plan A3, right, which goes up 12 feet, and plan A4 is only 10 feet different. And then we have a plan A5 that doesn't really have a floor on it, but it's up there at another 10 feet in case you need a reference. And then the roof is just kind of set to the top of the roof. This wall is not, nothing is perpendicular in this building, so you can see this kind of wall going back, and so you can also see the roof is kind of sloping, and it's a little bit more complex. So basically that's how it's set up. Each one of these floors is referenced to a level, and if you go to that level in your floor plans, everything will host on that level. So if you were to move the level, everything that you drew on those would move up and down with it. So the next thing I want to do, I'll go ahead and go back to hidden line here, is I'll go to my plan A1 notation and take a look at that, and that's the one that's been dimensioned, right? Just giving overall dimensions and sizes. And then the plan A1 schematic is one without dimensions and just sort of cleaner and a little bit easier to read. And if we go to plan A1, this one has kind of everything turned on, all the sections and elevations, and then the floors are set to gray, and so you can see this is exterior here, And then the walls I actually have set to purple, so I can read them a little clearer. So it's all the same model, but each one of these floor plans has different visibility graphics set to it, right? So if I go through, this is the one, the notation and the schematic are the ones that are placed on the sheet. So let me go down here. And if you look at A101, the plan notation has been dragged from the views onto the sheet. So if I were to delete this, right, I could then drag the plan notation back out and place it on the sheet, right? So the idea with Revit is that you can have all these different settings and work in a very messy plan and change things that you want to change, and they will also update on the other plans because it's all the same model, just set to different visibility settings. So that's pretty much the way this guy is set up. In the next video, I will show you how to create your own floor plan and set some of the visibility parameters.